Former President Donald Trump found liable for sexually abusing and defaming publisher E. Jean Carroll, and now will be forced to pay her $5 million in damages. The former president says the ruling is a disgrace, a witch hunt, and he will appeal. Here to discuss is Caroline Heldman, professor of critical theory and social justice at Occidental College. Good morning, Caroline. Thank you for being with us.
Great to see you, Giselle. Good morning.
So after fighting for decades, this is a huge victory for E. Jean Carroll. She says this isn't just a win for her, but a win for all women who are not believed and have had to suffer in silence. How significant?
I think it's very significant. She went up against one of the most powerful men in the world, and she got a guilty verdict in terms of a civil trial, $5 million in damages. This is symbolically very important, especially given the fact that so few survivors of sexual assault ever get a day in court, and even fewer actually get a guilty verdict.
So the former president, though, was not found guilty of rape. So while Carroll is celebrating, was that a blow to her?
Yes, absolutely. It's one that Trump's attorneys are pouncing on. It's a strange verdict in the sense that they awarded her defamation as well as sexual abuse, but didn't go that one step further for rape. And of course, that is what Joe Tacopina is focusing primarily on in response to this verdict.
So the Access Hollywood tape featured prominently, as did the two other women who came to testify showing a pattern of abuse. How damning was that tape and the fact that he doubled down in the deposition?
It's very damning in the sense that he admitted to engaging in these activities, the same activities that E. Jean Carroll and two other witnesses who took the stand testified to, that he took advantage of moments and kind of, it just pounced upon them in ways that they weren't anticipating. And that's exactly what he was celebrating in that Access Hollywood tape. So I think all of that evidence taken together, as well as the fact that E. Jean Carroll told two of her colleagues immediately after she was attacked by Donald Trump in that dressing room, that was the evidence that the jury needed in order to give this verdict.
So the former president, he called no witnesses, put on no defense. Yet on social media, he says he's being silenced. His attorneys have planned to appeal. Does he have grounds?
He'll certainly get the appeal. Everyone wants to make sure that he gets his day in court. Does he have grounds to overturn it? I would say no. And I also think it's politically not wise for him to drag this out into the election. This case, if I were giving him political advice, I would say just let it lie, put it behind you now.
So the polls leading up to the verdict showed the former president up at least 20% on Governor DeSantis and beating Biden in a head-to-head matchup. It's early, obviously, but does this guilty verdict have any impact on the run for 2024?
Giselle, I don't think it has any impact. This is a man who said I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and I wouldn't lose supporters. You know, I think he could engage in sexual violence on Fifth Avenue and he would not lose supporters. His supporters are surely aware that he has 26 other allegations of sexual violence and harassment from women. The Access Hollywood tape and this has not budged them in their support of him. So I doubt that this verdict will budge them at all. In fact, I think he'll probably use it as evidence that he's being persecuted.
He's going to return on CNN tonight for a town hall. This is a network he has called the enemy of the people, fake news, fake news. What does this tell you about his relationship with Fox and conservative media that he's actually going to go on CNN?
Giselle, he has a $475 million defamation suit against CNN. It's interesting that he's headed there. I think it's politically wise for him. He has great appeal for Republicans in his party, or a certain strain of Republicans in his party. But we know that he's been losing ground with independents, and this is a way for him to reach independents. I know it's controversial, but a lot of folks are criticizing CNN, given the fact that he's still denying the outcome of the 2020 election, that he supported a violent insurrection, that he is now been found guilty in a civil trial of sexual abuse. But at the end of the day, media outlets should not be involved in deciding who they're going to feature if he's a presidential contender. I think it benefits the network in that they widen their audience to better appeal to MAGA supporters. So it makes financial sense for them. It makes sense for Donald Trump. Of course, at the end of the day, this is a man with a lot against him. The more he gets in the primetime spotlight, the more we will have an ability to make a decision about whether or not he should be reelected in 2024.
Speaking of MAGA viewership, Tucker Carlson going to Twitter, making a deal with Elon Musk. What do you make of that?
I think Elon Musk is openly supporting an open white supremacist. This white supremacist meaning that you value white people more than other folks, people of color. Tucker Carlson has not hidden this. He has, and this is his word, called immigrants dirty. He has promoted a false narrative that immigrants are criminals. He supported a false narrative about South African farmers that caused white supremacists to be overjoyed. He has openly supported and defended white supremacists. This is not a man who is hiding this. So the question is, why is Elon Musk giving an avowed open white supremacist a platform?
Therein lies the question. We don't have enough time to answer that one. George Santos arrested on 13 charges of fraud, money laundering, theft of public funds, and false statements. What is the speaker going to do? He's got a very slim, majority.
Kevin McCarthy has said that he will not remove Santos unless he is found guilty. And of course, a trial could take a long time. We know he's been taken into custody. We don't know what the charges are, but McCarthy will not be removing him unless there's a guilty verdict.
Tomorrow, I will be asking you about the debt ceiling and the return of Dianne Feinstein, but that's for another day. Caroline Heldman, professor of critical theory and social justice at Occidental College. Thank you so much for being with us on a Wednesday. We appreciate you.
Yes, thank you, Giselle.